Krysten Lampman with the R. Weaver Rockets cross-country team joining us here today out at the Kuemper Invitational at Swan Lake. And Krysten, a top finish for you today for the Rockets. How'd you feel out on the course?
Really, I had a lot of side aches, but it's easy to work through them with the downhills, so it wasn't that bad.
First year running cross-country. What do you feel like you've learned about cross-country and about yourself running it so far this year?
I've learned that when you think you're almost done, you're not.
Talk about the start of the race today. What box was the Rockets in, and did you feel like you got off to a good start?
They didn't usually, today they didn't have them marked out. You just got to pick your own box. So we picked the box closest to the inside so we could get a better part in the race, and it was, we had a pretty good one, I guess. It wasn't that hard.
Didn't feel like you got trapped in. You kind of get out with the front pack.
Yeah, it's easier if you just stay in the beginning and let them pass you afterwards, so you don't get pushed over.
Talk about the first mile. How'd you feel out there? What were your strengths, maybe some of your weaknesses in that first mile?
There were a lot of uphills, and at the end there's a lot of downhills, but the hardest part is, the uphills, because that stinks really bad.
How'd you adjust all the hills in that second mile today?
You have to push harder going up the hills, and then it's easier if you just go down.
When first time ever out at this course running, what did you think of it, and do you think about that? Do you knowing where you got to run, or do you just kind of follow the pack when you're running?
Depends on if we get here early enough to walk or not. Like today we got to walk since the boys got to go first, and now this I kind of knew where I was going, so it was a lot easier knowing.
How much does that help you when you know the course a little bit better?
It's a lot easier than I know when to start kicking it in and when to let go.
When did you give your kick today?
Up at the top, we had 2 turns left. It was still a bunch of straightaways, but we had 2 turns left, and there was 1 downhill left, so I just used the downhill and just went from there.
How'd you feel like you finished the race?
I passed a bunch of people at the end. I don't think they heard me because it was kind of windy, so that was good.
What's first year out, so you probably were guessing at a time you wanted to get to before the season started. Now that you're running and you can see what you can do out here, what are you shooting for this year?
Hopefully an 18, upper 18s maybe.
What are you running right now?
My best one was at Holstein. I think it was a 19:36.
So you got a little bit of time to cut off. What kind of work do you need to do in practice to cut that time down?
Probably more hills, sad to say, but...
Are you going to eventually like courses that are hilly or no? No? I tell you what, Krysten, appreciate you joining us here today. Great work, and keep up the good work.